the Stoke-on-Trent Ceramic and Arts Museum in Stoke-on-Trent. On this, what is, I guess, we can truly say is an historic day. We're here this morning to unveil for the very first time an archaeological find of national, if not international importance, found here in Staffordshire. The second time, in fact, that this kind of archaeological find has been discovered in this county, and we're delighted to have this second piece. We'll hand over to some of the experts here this morning on the panel so that you can explore further. But I guess we're all looking forward to the months and years ahead when we can start to speculate on this massive detective story of why these items were here in Staffordshire, in that location, at that time. Where they were from, who wore them, why they ended up there. Lots and lots of speculation that we can enjoy in the future. And hopefully with expert advice and guidance, we can piece together some of that story in the, as I say, months and years ahead. I'm joined here this morning on this panel by Stephen Dean, who's the Staffordshire County Council County Archivist, by Abby Brown, who's the Deputy Leader of Stoke-on-Trent City Council, and by Teresa Gilmore, the Finance Officer from the Portable Antiquities Scheme, and finally by Dr. Julia Farley, who's the Curator of the Iron Age collection at the British Museum. All of them have expert knowledge and will be able to guide and advise us this morning on why the find is here. But if I may, do we wish to unveil first, or are we going to ask questions first? Do you want to see it before we talk?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Really careful. I'm going to get down on my knee first. There we go. These are the oldest gold items found in the country. We go to the Bronze Age. Iron Age, I'm so sorry. Iron Age, I'm looking at gold and thinking bronze. Iron Age talks. So, let me hand over this.
Well, once again, if I can carry on with what Ian saying, thank you very much for coming today, and also thank you for bearing with me for this relatively change. I'm here really just to talk about the archaeology and about the initial response that was undertaken just before Christmas, as all these things do always happen just before Christmas quite often. We were approached by colleagues from the Portable Antiquities Scheme, Teresa Gilmore to my left, to inform us that there'd been a find of, a significant find of potentially treasure in the north of the county, just north of Leek. And really, we wanted to sort of get together to have a think about what needed to be done next. So getting together with colleagues at the Portable Antiquities Scheme, but also colleagues from the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery and Stoke-on-Trent Archaeology, we developed a strategy for assessing and trying to understand the site that these objects were found in. This resulted in, just after Christmas, working with the Scottish Kingdom as well, resulted in a small-scale excavation of the area of the find itself. I can report that no other pieces were found at that point in time, although subsequently an extra piece was identified and recovered. That actually creates four talks, which is what we've got here today in front of you. We're waiting for the final report on the excavation. What it appears to have been is that the field has largely been under pasture for most of its recent history, although it was improved agriculturally about 30 years ago. Beyond that, no features were found, no other finds that could have been associated with the hoard were identified in front of you. So we're not entirely sure as to what it might represent. We've got some interesting thoughts, and I'm sure my colleagues, maybe Julia, can expand on that shortly. But first I'd like to hand over to Abby from Stoke-on-Trent.
Thank you. Obviously it's fantastic to be able to unveil this here today, and the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery is the official collections home of all archaeological finds within Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent, and it will be absolutely brilliant for us to have them on display here from tomorrow until the 22nd of March, particularly as Yesterday we announced that we had officially thrown our hat into the ring to be UK City of Culture in 2021. I think the find today, along with the Staffordshire board that you can also see here, along with a number of really fantastic displays, demonstrates the breadth of culture and heritage that we have within Stoke-on-Trent and within the wider Staffordshire area.
So, can I pass over to Teresa, please?
Right. The Leekfrith board consists of three neck torques and one bracelet, all of continental design. They were found in mid-December by two detectorists, Mark Hamilton and Joe Kenya, and they were handed in to the Portable Antiquities scheme here at Potteries Museum. It's one of my regular finds days. They've been found the day before, so thank you. They were very responsible protecting and very prompt reporting to us. They had landowner permission, which is great. I'm used to seeing unusual and special finds as a daily process. Nothing prepared me for what Mark showed me that day. Dug out an old duster and went, "You've got to see these." And put into shock for the rest of the day. Absolutely amazing find. So because of that, we put them through the treasure process, and later Ian Smith, coroner for North Staffordshire, will be confirming whether they fall under the requirements of the Treasure Act. We have carried out X-ray fluorescent analysis on all four torques. This was carried out at Birmingham Museum Conservation Laboratory by Piotr Greaves of Dragon Heritage and Conservation and myself. This analysis demonstrated that the torques have been made from 74 to 78% gold, 18 to 22% silver, with a small amount of copper, trace iron, mercury and tin. These values are consistent with other finds of Iron Age gold work and similar to that and similar natural European gold. And this is equivalent to about 17 to 18 carat gold. So yeah, as I said, Ian Smith will be looking at going through the export director report later today, confirming whether these are treasure. This treasure find actually joins over 200 other treasure cases that the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery have acquired over the last 20 years due to the Treasure Act 96. The Portable Antiquities scheme, which is administered by the British Museum and hosted locally by Birmingham Museums Trust, and was set up 20 years ago to help administer the Treasure Act, but also to record archaeological finds made by members of the public, has helped with this process. To date, over 12,000 finds have been recorded by finds liaison officers, all of which have improved our understanding of the archaeological record in Staffordshire. Now I'll pass over to Julie Farley, who will tell us a bit more information about these wonderful items.
Thank you. I was definitely second what Teresa's saying, that I deal with exciting finds a lot. I've worked at the British Museum for about 5 years, and I heard about these just before Christmas, and we decided it would be great if I could come up and see them. So I came up here and was waiting, and there was a bit of foam out, and got the box out, and everyone was kind of joking, like, "Oh, glad you're sitting down." And I have to say, I thought, well, I'm not really a fainter. I think I'm going to be all right. But when they opened up the box and I saw these for the first time, I did actually feel faint. These are incredible objects, and I'm so pleased that we can finally allow everybody to have a bit of a closer look. And hopefully, they're going on display later from tomorrow at the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery. And I really hope that it will be possible for them to stay here for longer and be acquired. And this is a completely unique find for Britain. So what we're looking at are, and the three nearest the back here, are neck rings. So metal rings which are worn as a necklace. We call them torques from this period, the Iron Age. You can see that the one that Dev is holding up there has a little clasp at the back, but would be a complete ring. And the one in the middle has these two beautiful terminals down, which would probably be worn at the front, which is slightly decorated. And then the one on the far right, on my right to your left, which is broken, is similar but even finer. And so these objects, you'll see they're a little bit kind of warped and bent. That's probably because where they are, they've been hit by plough. They've been in the ground, or certainly they've been made about 2,500 years ago, so we're incredibly lucky that they still look as beautiful and are in as good condition as they are. As I say, there's nothing really quite like this from Britain, so my role in this process is that I write a specialist report to help the coroner decide if these meet the treasure criteria, which is holding today. And so I'm looking for kind of parallels, trying to work out how old they are, and what these are most similar to are objects from the continent, so what's now France or Germany. And because it's incredibly rare and sort of virtually unknown to find objects like this in Britain, it's most likely that these are imports into Britain from the continent. They're probably made around 400 to 250 BC. This is incredible because in the Bronze Age, so the period before the Iron Age, up until about 800 BC, we do get gold finds from Britain, so these aren't the earliest gold from Britain, but there's a kind of a gap from about 800 BC where people seem to stop really using and wearing gold. And after that, the next gold find, the next oldest, is these. So we didn't really know that people this long ago were using and wearing gold in Iron Age Britain. This is the oldest Iron Age gold from Britain. So this is an incredibly exciting find, and it's particularly exciting for me that it's come up in Staffordshire, because there's a tendency to think, oh, well, if we're going to find continental imports, we'll probably find them down in the southeast, maybe Kent or somewhere. But that's not where they've been found. They've been found up here. And for me, that's challenging a lot of our ideas about the Iron Age period, and maybe making us realise that this is a very, very connected area 2,500 years ago. So how did these things arrive in Britain, and why are they buried where they are? Excellent questions, which I'm sure we're all wondering. They could have arrived, so these are rare and unusual even on the continent. These wouldn't have been worn by just anybody. In Britain, we don't really get Iron Age graves, certainly in this part of Britain. So these aren't from a grave, but sometimes we do find objects like this on the continent in graves. And from that, we can say that these were probably worn by powerful, important women. And so probably female ornaments. They could have arrived in Britain maybe as gifts from leaders and important people on the continent, sending gifts to counterparts over here in Britain, in Staffordshire, or they could have arrived, and what I think is probably most likely, is being worn by continental women who have come to Britain. And how did they end up in the ground? It's a very difficult question to answer. In the Iron Age, people did sometimes take incredibly valuable objects and bury them in the ground or cast them into rivers, and we think that quite often these are offerings to the gods. It's possible as well that these have been placed in the ground for safekeeping and that somebody intended to come back for them. We can tell when we look at the objects, and hopefully we'll get a chance to look at them a little bit more close up in a bit. But if you imagine that you're wearing a talk, actually I'm going to do something slightly strange, but I have a talk which I made, which isn't anywhere near as exciting. This is one she made earlier. This is one I made earlier. We hid it because we didn't want you guys to think it was part of the find, because it's not as beautiful as the real one. But so these are worn something like this. So you can see how the terminals kind of sit on your sort of collarbone here. And that means that if you wear the talk the same way up for quite a long period of time, the metal, because gold is very, very soft, is going to wear away a little bit on one particular side. And that's happened with these talks. So when we look at them really, really close up, this is my job, just staring very closely at objects, you can see that on all three of the talks, there's one particular side that is a little bit more worn. And so it's as if they've always been worn the kind of same way up, maybe by one particular person, or within a family, somebody who knew how to wear it. And they've all been placed in the ground, we think probably in a little kind of nested arrangement that was then hit by the plough. And they've been placed in the ground the right way up. And it's not immediately apparent when you look at them that there is a right way or a wrong way. It's only if you look at them really closely and you know about them. So to me that says that the person or people who place these into the ground knew these objects, will be thoughtful and careful with them in how they were placing them and what they were doing. So to me that says that this is a very careful, thoughtful deposit, not something that's being made sort of on the spur of the moment. So either, as I say, for the sake of keeping someone's planning to come back with these, or maybe it's an offering to the gods. As I say, we don't have really very many graves from this part of the world in the Iron Age, so it could even have been a sort of act of remembrance of the people who owned these objects, potentially. And what's also worth talking about the declaration. So for me, the whole find is incredible, but the most incredible and the most important is the bracelet, which is at the front, which I haven't talked about much. And if you look at this, you'll see it has beautiful terminals, like a little bit like some of the torques to the back, like the one in the middle. And the ring that goes around the back of the bracelet is made from twisted wires. It's very cleverly made, and I will happily point that out to anyone who wants to come and look at it more closely in a bit. But at the ends, you will see, on the outside of the bracelet, it's decorated. And it's decorated with this very, very beautiful design, where they've taken 3 motifs, they kind of loop with 2 circles, and they've very carefully arranged them to make a single motif with very, very beautiful chased decoration, looking almost like a little kind of fountain. And to me, what that looks like is some of the early Celtic art that we get on the continent. It's very, very rare to find this in Britain. So again, this is some of the earliest Celtic art from Britain. And if we look at it very closely, you'll see the kind of style. We're used to Celtic art being quite sort of swirly and intricate. But this is the really, really early stuff, which references a kind of Greek symbol called a palmet, which looks a little bit like a fancy fleur-de-lis. And this, I think, is referencing that. So we have the earliest Iron Age gold from Britain, and also some of the earliest Celtic art from Britain. And it's been discovered here on the hillside in Staffordshire, which is absolutely incredible, and I think is really going to change how we think about this part of the world in the Iron Age 2,500 years ago.
So, shall we open up some questions? Yes. Any questions?
You mentioned that obviously Staffordshire is, you perhaps weren't expecting